Howdy, and welcome to this video showing some of the new features of the CD plugin updates. Now, most of the updates were bug fixes and code optimizations, so a lot of that stuff will be under the hood. But there were some significant new features in CDIK Tools and CD FBX Import Export plugin, and I'd like to show those features in this video. First, let's take a look at some of the new features of the CD FBX Import Export plugin. CD FBX Import Export plugin now offers support for some of the additional features of the FBX file format, such as spline objects, user properties, constraints, and animation curves. This makes it easier to transfer rigged characters from one application to another. To demonstrate this, I've created a simple little character rig here, which I'll export out of Cinema 4D and then import it into Maya. Now, there were a couple of alterations that I needed to make to the rig before exporting it, just to avoid any issues when importing it into Maya. One of the issues was that normally I would have the character geometry parented to the main controller to keep the rig self-contained. But in Maya, if a skin geometry is parented to the main controller, then when you move the main controller, you'd get a double transform on the skin. So I simply unparented anything with skin geometry in it just to avoid that issue. Another thing is that normally with the CD foot IK, it will allow you to use the ankle tip goal as a pivot point. But in Maya, this gets converted to an IK handle, and it just doesn't work as well using an IK handle as a pivot point. So let's go ahead and export this, and I'll enable splines, user data, and constraints, and I need to also enable preserve object hierarchy so that it preserves all of the null objects here in the rig. And I'll click on OK, OK, and we'll export it to FBX. Okay, here we are in Maya, and we'll import the FBX file. And what I want to do is scroll down here in the options and make sure that animation and constraints are enabled. Click on import. And we have a couple of little warnings here. I'll just ignore those and close that out. And there we have the file imported. You can see that all of the spline objects that we're using for rig controllers have been imported, and the constraints and IK have also been imported. And you can see on the IK controllers, the user data has been imported into custom attributes. Now, the connections haven't been imported, but you can see the attributes have retained their minimum and maximum ranges. So with just a little bit of work, we can get all of these attributes connected up, which I've already done here. Let's open that file. And here we have the, oops, I'll show you that We have controls, foot rocker, and toe tip, toe curl, heel twist, toe tip. And here on the arm, we can switch the hand to IK mode so that when we move it, you can see the hand moves with the arm. And then we have access to the twist and bend and swing. Also, if you notice, when we twist the arm, the forearm, the constraints on the forearm twist joints are behaving as expected. And let's see. If I can get the right one selected. There we go. And so we also have the finger controls connected. So you can see with a little bit of work there, we have a complete animatable rig imported into Maya. Here is a simple little example to demonstrate the support for animation curves. Here I have a cube, and if we open up the timeline, I've created a different interpolation for each of the position tracks. On the X, I have spline interpolation, and I've adjusted the tangents to give it this kind of shape. And on the Y, I have linear interpolation, and on the Z, step interpolation. So let's go ahead and export this out. And I've enabled animation curves and disabled most everything else here. So we'll go ahead and export that. And we'll save it there. Okay, here we are in Maya, and we'll import the cube. And if we go to the graph editor, you can see that it imported the curve interpolation properly. The X has the correct shape with the tangents, the Y linear interpolation, and the Z with step interpolation. CD-FBX Import-Export plugin has a new tag called the CD Retarget tag. This tag allows you to retarget the motion of one skeleton to another skeleton. It has the ability to have multiple source skeletons, and you can switch between the sources with the retarget pop-up menu. For example, here we have a scene with an imported BVH skeleton and an imported TrueBone skeleton. And we can simply switch between the two sources by using the pop-up menu here. Now, each source skeleton has its own set of parameters here for root scale, root rotational offset, and manual joint assignment. When the manual joint assignment is enabled, an extra tab shows up here that creates a list of joints from the destination skeleton and allows you to drag joints into the links from the source skeleton. CDIK Tools has a new IK tag in it called the CDIK handle. This is a multi-bone IK solution which is specifically designed to be compatible with the IK constraint in the FBX file format. The IK tag has 3 different solvers included in it. It has a rotation plane solver, a single chain solver, and a history dependent solver. The rotation plane solver and the single chain solver work similarly, except that the rotation plane solver uses a pull vector to determine the direction of the IK, and the single chain solver uses the rotation of the IK goal to determine the direction of the IK. The history-dependent IK solver works similarly to the old IK that was removed, while this doesn't really offer much use for characters' arms and legs because of its stability. It still has some practical uses. Specifically, when the history-dependent solver is selected, this unlock root option becomes available, and when we unlock the root, we have like a follow the leader type IK solution. The CDIK handle also has its own setup tool. To use the tool, you would select it and then select which IK solver you want to use here in the attributes, and you would first click on the root joint and then click on the tip joint, and there you have the IK set up. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you find the new features of the CD plugins useful. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Adios.